Hello, I am going to show you this software that is called Census Chile 2017 that I have to build as final work for my master degree in big data. And the purpose of this software is to demonstrate that the correct implementation of visualization principles allows to enhance the exploration of the data. In this case, census data. I was wondering how my parents, for example, or anybody without high-level computer skills can get benefits from the census result. I started to research in different countries and websites how countries perform their census and, more importantly, how they bring or show the results to the citizens. What I found is that there is a lot of not very interesting information brought to the citizens, a lot of very simple charts that talk mainly about how many people live in the country, how many of them are male, how many of them are female, which percentage of the population lives in this region, how many immigrants are in the country. Also very complex tools, not very easy to use and understand, as well as dashboards that are hard to interpret since they were built using these old fancy charts such as 3D pie chart, for example, that is not very easy to interpret. Also not easy to obtain patterns when you show data in this tabular view. So I built this software in order to demonstrate that it's possible to build an easy to use and friendly tool that anybody can use in order to get insights. This dashboard contains widgets, as you can see, also a group of filters in the left side that users can use. Right now, I am not using any filter, so what you see here is the global amount of data from the database. This is the population of Chile at that time. 17,574,003 people were living in Chile at that time. You can see as well that women and men were equally spread, same as age. Also, you can see here in this choropleth map that most of the people, this is the map of Chile, and you can see that most of the people live in centric regions, but most of them here in the capital. 7 million people live in the capital, that represents 40% of the population. In the chart foreigners, you can see that most of the people that were living or visiting Chile at that time came from Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, for example. But most of them come from Peru. At least 1% of the population at that time came from Peru. In this chart, people that consider themselves as part of an ethnical group, they affirm that they belong to this one mainly, Mapuche. 1 million, almost 700,000 people consider themselves as Mapuche, that represent almost 10% of the population of the country. This is a Sankey diagram that tries to show people with high academic level, where do they choose to work after graduation. So, for example, people with professional degree mostly prefer to work in teaching industry, followed by commerce and science industry. This chart compares the population in different regions of the country. In first position, you can see Metropolitana region, which is the region of the capital with 7 million people living there. This is a bubble chart that tries to compare the age of the people and their highest academic level. In the x-axis, you can see age from 18 years old up to 100 plus years old. In the y-axis, you can see academic level. Clearly, you can see that most of the Chileans have secondary school as highest academic level. There is a group of people between 40, 50 years old up to 70 plus that only have primary school as highest academic level. That can be explained because 40, 50 years ago, it was hard to go to school and even harder to go to university. You can see here a group of young professionals from 20 and 30 years old. Also a group of people with master degree between 30 and 40, and with PhD around 35 years old. And that's it. Now, what users could do is to use the filters to get specific data. For example, a user would like to know how many people from Argentina were living or visiting Chile at that time. I already make that filter here with people from Venezuela. There were 85,000 people from Venezuela living or visiting Chile at that time. From 21 to 40 years old, you can see that most of the people were living in the capital. People with professional degree prefer to work in commerce, followed by homestay and scientific. You can clearly see that most of the people that come from Venezuela have at least a professional degree, followed by people with secondary school and technical degree. There is a group of people with master degree as well. Let's do one more example, this time with China. There were 9,600 Chinese people living or visiting Chile at that time, most of them men between 21 and 50 years old. And again, most of Chinese people were living in the capital of Chile. But you can see this slight darkest color in the top of the country. These regions here are well known for having a lot of mining companies, so it's very likely Chinese people were doing business here. A big group of Chinese people with professional degree were working in commerce industry, followed by homestay. You can see in this chart that most of Chinese people living or visiting Chile at that time had as highest academic level secondary school, followed by a group of young professionals. It's interesting that there is a big group of people that never attended to school. Let's pick this one. There were 19 people of 30 years old that never attended to school. And that's the software. The database contains more than 17 million documents. Each document has more than 40 attributes. That's why I choose to use MongoDB as database engine. Because of the size of the database, I have to treat the data, transforming, cleaning it, reducing the data. At that time, I had to use aggregation framework from MongoDB in order to make the queries more efficient. For the UI, I use ReactJs, for the charts, D3.js, and for the APIs, Express.js. I stored the code of this project in Bitbucket. The repository is public if you want to take a look. And that's it. Thank you very much for listening.